Alright, hey everybody, welcome back. This is sort of like a little supplemental video I'm doing while I'm working on a couple of other projects. Um, before I get off on it, this is something I bought from Hobby Lobby, as I say, like for 22 bucks, 23 bucks. The big problem is that it's, the reason I keep pointing to everything here, is that Mayberry Street is their brand of Dollhouses, 112 scale, but this thing is 124 scale. So if you're going to buy this thinking that maybe you can put some of their other dollhouse furniture in these things, you will be sadly mistaken because it will not fit. So this is the first time that I have ever done one of these things. As I say, I was just walking through and I happened to see it and I was just like, well, that's kind of interesting. Maybe I can do that and I can, post some more things to the while I'm working on this diorama as opposed to just the little painting videos. So, the reason that I put this sort of like on the thing as a fail is because I think I failed it and it failed me. And what I mean by that is that um, it, there were so many little silly things. I guess making stuff from scratch and this being sort of the first kit, I was kind of disappointed with everything because it's a little easier when it's all there together. But at the end of the day, it would have made it look. It would have been a whole lot better had it actually been done from scratch. Some of these little wooden pieces and some of the furniture like that, yes, it's easier than cutting out balsa yourself and whatnot. But at the end of the day, though, it saved me a little bit of time. But like stuff like this, like the books, they were a novel concept, but they don't close, so you have to glue them. And then what's the point of folding them if you have to glue them? All these silly little books that wouldn't close, all these little tiny details. Why do you have a birdhouse in your on your bookcase? I don't know. Maybe there was just a lot of little things. It's just random beads. Oh, hey, just glue this thing to the top, and they were very disappointing. Now these things right here, real quick. These are there's a big planting flower theme in this kit for whatever reason, and those were seed packets. So to scale, those things would have been, I don't know, it would have been like 12 and a half by 14-inch envelopes. Really silly. Big problem I have with this kit is that they will give you just barely enough material and supplies to do some of the stuff. I thought it was ridiculous. Use your own materials. Don't use the stuff that doesn't give you anywhere near enough. And the padding, none of the stuff is enough. You have very, very little. You can't do any kind of scrap whatsoever. And to be fair, you really can't make it. They give you little templates, but it's not very good. And another beef that I had with this whole thing is that the instructions are useless. They are absolutely useless. They go all over the place for no particular reason whatsoever. They do not give you. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, if you can see the instructions right there, the couch instructions are probably the most thorough instructions that they have for everything. What is that, like 2, 4, 6, 8? It's like 8 or 9 pictures. They don't tell you anything. Sometimes you just have to sort of infer with one picture to the next picture. I don't know. As I say, for me, I had many problems with this. So maybe for other people, you might not have as big of an issue. But I should have stopped right away and did my own fabric. But I kind of wanted to do everything based on the thing. So I don't like doing this sort of time-lapse stuff, but this is the reason. There was just so many little bitty ridiculous pieces, little sticks going here, little sticks going here. And, okay, that's cool. But it's as a kit, why wasn't this sort of already together for the most part? Not like completely, but like, square blocks and whatever I can just sort of glue together without these little pegs sticking out everywhere. And nothing, very few things are pre-drilled. I say, like, and here we go. These things are pre-drilled all the way through. And they have this random, like, angle that these things are supposed to be sitting at. And this is a big hole. I just had to drop a bunch of glue in there and kind of hope for the best. So, yeah, and then stuffing these little bitty pillows and then trying to super glue them down or whatever the stuff is. I will admit that the glue that this stuff comes with is really good glue. And a little bit later when I start doing the base or the whole foundation structure, you're gonna see exactly how good this glue really is. But this is the one thing right here that turned out, I think, the absolute best. This little bitty bead and some little paper, some just different color paper to look like a flower, and with a little bit of little inserts there for some color. That's the absolute, and it looked great. I just kind of trimmed up the edges there to make them kind of look a little bit more like leaves, and boom. Sorry I went through so fast, but yeah, it was. I think that was the best looking thing of the whole the whole kit. I should probably mention that there's currently a thunderstorm happening while I'm recording this, so if you're hearing like raindrops and thunder or whatever, I didn't add a track or anything to the thing. It's no relaxation track. It's literally just storming as I'm doing this, so hopefully the power doesn't go out on me. But as I say, I had so many issues, and this thing says that it's for 14 and up. I don't recommend it. You have to have some skill. I would actually say it's much easier to build this stuff from scratch than to try to piece this stuff together. To try to keep it square, to try to keep all of these things sort of working out. I had to kind of fall back on a lot of like, I can just figure out how to do it on my own. But I think it also builds sort of, this really neat kind of, it gets your mind working, like with just the sort of basic shapes and what you can end up doing when you just sort of cut some basic shapes and put it all together. I know that sounds a little silly, but but it's interesting how you can just take these pieces and then really start to put together some stuff that looks pretty cool. And then just imagine, you can do this out of balsa, you can do this out of foam, you can do this out of a lot of different materials. And the only difference here is that it's made from this sort of base wood, I guess, or whatever the stuff is. And, it's pre-painted for the most part. And a lot of stuff does not match up. I'm telling you that right now. A lot of stuff does not match up. You have to kind of wing it. And there are some lighting, little LEDs that you have to, they give you like 3 pictures or 4 pictures to figure out how to wire your own LEDs, and daisy chain them all together. And for the most part, it's actually relatively simple. But by the time that I got around to really doing it, I was so sort of frustrated with this whole thing that I really just kind of wanted to not waste them on this and just use them for something else later on down the road. With the glue, I opted to do double-sided tape. I don't know. I just felt it was a little bit easier to do the stuff, and luckily I did, because they barely gave you enough glue, and I didn't use any glue for this stuff. So I would have run out of glue a long time ago had it not been for that. So right away I thought that this stuff would not sit up very well. You got to keep in mind what this is actually doing. This glue is being glued to one little strip of the edge of the wood to paper that's been taped to another piece of wood, and the glue does a surprisingly good job. They have no pegs. They have, like, right here for the floor. I turn everything sideways here. For the floor, it just glues in. There's no stabilizers. There's no nothing. The edges over here for the room, it's not a tight fit. It just kind of sits in there, and it literally held. I had to let it dry overnight just to be on the safe side, but it held. And not only did it hold with zero support and no notches, no nothing, all the little stuff that was held up on top of it, it didn't fall through either. So it actually held up really, really well. I don't know what kind of glue this was. It was just called white glue, but it was really good, and it makes me want to go back and actually test the the strength and the hold on a lot of the other glues, like the Eileen's glue that I use more often than anything else. But see, like right here, as I'm doing these things, this is the stuff that I hated the most. They literally wanted you just to glue stuff into air, and then just glue other things to it. But there's no base. There's no nothing. Like, this could have been easily solved with just one little piece of foam on the bottom of it. But because the glue is actually pretty good, it does a decent job. Except that it left a lip, and because it left a lip, this frame here that I'm about to glue down doesn't fit. It's all sideways and it doesn't go on, and there is no way around that. It was very annoying. As I say, it's these little bitty things that, and then this thing. They don't drill any holes, and they give you round dowels to just glue standing up, and to glue another round dowel to the top. Not square. But they could have been square, and it could have laid so much easier. They made them round for no reason. I'm not sure. These little things like that got on my nerves. But, and I'm going to skip a lot. I think I ended up skipping, I don't know, maybe 14 or 15 different things, including the lights. I tried to put the lights together, and it just didn't work. I was having some major issues with a lot of it. Now, I'm being overly critical. I say, no, it's the first time I've ever done this thing, and for a lot of you that might be looking at this, you might be thinking, it actually, it does its thing, and it's true. I am being overly critical of it, but and $22 is not that expensive to have this little, diorama that technically could light up, but it's also $22. And with foam and a little bit of balsa and some other stuff like that, I could have made much better looking floors, much lighter weight. The thing is actually kind of heavy, oddly enough, because of all the extra wood and stuff. So it is kind of heavy just to sit on a shelf. And it's also a strange size, so it doesn't fit on a normal size shelf. Here's, real quick for these books. I could not put them on the shelf. They do not fit on the shelves. They're too big. So that's why I just sort of crammed them all onto one shelf and said, at this point, I had already run across so many things that were wrong with this, and I just said, I'm not spending any more time doing this. I think it took about 10 or 11 hours for me to do what I did, and at the end of the day, I skipped a lot. And so, I'd say maybe 12 to 15 hours, you might be able to get all of it done, all the little, bells and whistles. The bathroom, they had this gold rim around the toilet, which was so tacky. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And the shower, the thing sitting beside the toilet, I don't know why they did that and why they just didn't put a sink. I mean, come on. They have a shower with... I know it's just a representation of a room. I know it's not supposed, but what if you're gonna do the detail? I'm doing all the silly plastic walls and stuff like that. Just put a sink and leave it at that. You had to put this sort of weird, bend the wire and glue some little, metal pieces to it and glue all this other stuff. And I slowed this down. Sorry, I'm jumping here because I had to build this stair a couple different times because I actually put them on the wrong way, and it didn't fit. So I wanted to, see. I think there it is. See, that's why I'm doing this regular speed, because I realized after I glued it all down, this thing goes a very steep staircase. So I had it upside down. So I would definitely recommend. That's a loud car. Making sure that. You put the stairs on the correct way before you do that. Luckily, I was able to get to most of it before this glue dried, and the glue dries pretty quickly. And it didn't bend up a lot of the paper, which I was kind of shocked by. Normally, I usually get this glue, and it'll kind of, I guess there's a little bit too much water content in the glue that I get, and it ends up bending up the paper a little bit more than I want. But I'm not really sure why I'm dwelling on the stairs so much. I think this was probably a little bad cut on my part, but at this point, I'm just trying to power through it. So overall, I don't know. I can recommend this kit maybe if you just want to play around and you have much smaller hands than I do, because most of the work you're going to do with this thing is like folding paper boxes that are about half an inch or smaller. I would also recommend taking a little bit more time using the base, the wood itself and stuff like that, and then and the walls, and using it, and then expanding on it and doing better curtains, better light fixtures. Oh, the light, by the way, the light fixtures. So they have these beads for you to put the LEDs in. And then they just have you gluing a couple other little bead parts or whatever to the stuff, just to add to it. But they don't actually have you. Most of them are just literally hanging by the wire itself, which normally is not a big deal. But they're just kind of sitting around. It's there's a limited space or whatever for it. So what ends up happening? There's also no way to connect the LED to the light fixture. It's just, there's a picture that just shows you putting it in the light fixture, but there's no, it's not like a tight fit hole or anything like that. So you literally would have to use a bunch of glue just to keep it isolated to the thing. And I didn't really like that. I didn't like that idea. I liked, because once you do that, it's kind of permanent. So if you ever want to salvage some of the stuff, you really can't. I guess, that's me. For a lot of people, they might, hey, I built it, spent a lot of time on it. I don't want to tear it down. But I'm seeing some of these videos running around the internet and on YouTube and whatnot, and mostly, I guess, from Korea, and around the area, maybe Korea or China. And I've never seen these things. I can't find them online, but those kits look really, really nice. The ones that are available at Hobby Lobby, and they have about, 15 maybe of them, 15 different types. They range from about $10 for these little like single rooms, and this one is 22. And they had a couple other ones that were a little bit bigger that ran somewhere in the $70 and $80 marker. I would never ever buy that one for $80. If there was a crafter out there and they had made their own kit, like, I could make my own kit, and, I can justify $70, $80, because first off, you're going to get more than enough material to make a couch. You're not going to have this sort of janky kind of, dowel rod wrapped side cushion that just sort of hangs off the side for no particular reason whatsoever. And there's just, and by the way, there's supposed to be 2 more green cushions. I didn't have enough material for it. Okay. And then the plexiglass, there's no need for the plexiglass. And I don't know, as I say, for $22, I guess it's not that big of a deal, and you get probably your money's worth out of it, because of most of this is wood for the most part. But there's a couple extra things that you could do and probably make this thing go like a lot further and make it look a lot better, if you wanted to. But I definitely don't recommend this for 14-year-old. I'd recommend just making one out of foam. Maybe it'd be a more rewarding experience, I think, than just putting it together. That's me, though. I don't know. Maybe everybody's different. But anyway, this is that. So I guess you can decide for yourself and see if you like it or not.